Wherever you're listening in the world, it's a pleasure to welcome you to Israelcast, the podcast powered by Jewish National Fund USA, your voice in Israel. I'm Stephen Shalowitz. First, reminding you that for over 120 years, Jewish National Fund USA has been the premier philanthropic movement for the land and people of Israel. While best known for planting trees in Israel, JNF USA contributes to Israeli life in so many ways, including community development in the Negev and the Galilee, preservation of heritage sites, supporting people with disabilities, and connecting high school and college students to Israel. To learn more and to see how you can contribute, hope you got it by now, do visit jnf.org. Once again, jnf.org. All right, as for this episode, our featured guest is Ofer Gutman, the CEO of Masa Journey. I just love what Masa is doing, and if you're not familiar with them, or you know about them and simply want to be inspired, Ofer is here to share the tremendous work of the organization. He joins us now via Zoom from Ramat Gan in Israel. Ofer, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here with you.
Well, we're glad that you can carve out the time to join us here on Israelcast. Listen, I want to talk about Masa and all the fantastic work that the organization is doing. But first, I'd really like our listeners to get to know you a little bit. So share your backstory and how you got to where you are today. Because if my research is correct, you joined Masa in 2014, but you actually had a very robust career before that.
True. You're never actually, like I said, people have plans and then the reality takes you to something totally different. So my plan.
And by the way, you know what Mike Tyson says, the famous boxer? He says everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah. So I don't know if it was a punch in the face, but it was, for me, my plan wasn't, it was different than what I actually end up doing, and I'm very, very happy in what I'm doing. Because I grew up in the north of Israel, Israeli. I'm second generation in Israel. My parents were born here. My grandparents came here much before the war. Like they were like these pioneers, came to establish the country, and I had no connection to so much to the Israeli diaspora relationships. I didn't have so much friends from abroad or family that I knew from elsewhere. And I had a regular Israeli childhood. And what I wanted to do after I finished the army was to go and study law, because what Israel really needs is another Jewish lawyer, right? That's what really the country needed.
I'm glad you said it and not me, sarcastically.
But I have a Jewish mother, so I also had just two options, right? To be a doctor, to be a lawyer, and to be a doctor was a bit too hard for me. So I did study law, and we wanted to be. Thought I'm going to be a lawyer, and I did so many different internships as a student, criminal law and contract law and business law, and everything I saw that wasn't really for me. I don't have that passion. I didn't have that spark in my eyes that this is something I wanna do, and. But I decided I want to I started with this, so I'm gonna finish, and I'm gonna be a lawyer. So I finished I finished the studying, and in Israel you need to do, after the degree, you need to do 1 year of like a stage before you do the bar exam. So I decided to do it in in an organization that helps new immigrants with their legal issues, and that's what I did, and I loved it. I love that. I didn't love the law aspect, but I love the stories of where they came from, what their community is all about, why they decided to make Aliyah to Israel, and I got connected to these unique stories. That was my first connection to the world Jewry. Then I was really lucky to be offered to go to Shlichut, to be an emissary for the Jewish agency. I was stationed in New York, and I was in New York for 4 years. I was working with mainly with college students, and went a lot on college campuses to talk about Israel. I did a lot of things with JNF USA. It has a lot of activities on college campuses, and that was my like, I saw a different light. I would say, I don't know if every shaliach says it, but for me, I went to Shlichut as a very, very connected Israeli, and I came back as a Jew. And this is something that happens a lot.
How did that happen? Yeah.
I think that there's this, Israelis, if you ask a lot of Israelis how you define yourself, they will first define themselves as Israelis and then Jewish. And the Israeli identity can be very, very strong. And Israel, you don't need to think about your Jewish identity when you grew up, because the country already gave you like a safe space. You're growing up you're speaking Hebrew, you're celebrating the holidays, you're going to a Jewish school, like an Israeli school that has the Jewish calendar. And everyone made all your decision. You're making your decisions here and there, but it's within the framework of the country. And you're the majority here. So even if I'm not going to do anything in Yom Kippur, if I'm not going to do anything on Shabbat, I will see it, I will experience it. It's here, it's there. While when you're abroad, every day you need to make a decision. What am I taking my Jewish identity? What's Jewish about me? What do I gonna preserve? What I'm not going to preserve? What I then like. It's a very individual decision. I'm not talking about someone who, if you grew up in a very, very Jewish home and you go and you're living in a very Jewish neighborhood, so maybe some of the decisions are already made for you. But when you go to college and if you don't go to YU or Stern, you are in a non-Jewish environment in most cases, and you need to decide what you're going to do about it. So I think this is the other part of the coin. I think for me it was the first experience to see it. The second thing is my position. I worked with a lot of different Jewish communities. I wasn't a shaliach to a specific community. So I had like one weekend I'm spending with the Bnei Akiva group. I'm doing like a very Zionist Orthodox way to celebrate Shabbat. The next week I'm with Abonim Dror, a Zionist socialist left-wing youth movement, and I'm spending the Shabbat with them. The Shabbat after, I'm with the Reform rabbis, the young Reform leadership. So I think I got to see it from a very, very different angle, and to see that there's a lot of ways to celebrate and to connect to your Jewish identity. And I think that's when it started to me, the fact that it's, when I came back to Israel for my shlichut, I knew I'm going to work mainly in the Jewish, like in this mission, make the bridge between the Jewish community abroad and Israel stronger.
I want to build, though, on that notion of Israelis understanding American Jewry, and conversely, American Jewry understanding Israeli Jewry. And there's certainly a gap there, isn't there?
There's definitely a gap there, because it's built in that way. First of all, everyone is focusing on their own, and from an Israeli side, I feel that we can't send everyone to shlichut abroad, but the ones that are agents of change in the Israeli society, to bring that voice of the diaspora Jewry. But I think the vice versa is what we're doing in Masa, which actually in Masa I think it's both. And probably we'll get to Masa in a bit.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that the young Jews from abroad come here to spend significant time, they're connecting to Israel, but they also bring the world Jewry into the Israelis. And they're doing both sides, and definitely we need it. We need it, I think, more than ever.
Yeah, I agree, especially now, these days, where things are so indeed volatile. So you joined Masa in 2014, and then talk about your journey with Masa, and then let's get into really what the organization does.
So yeah, I actually I joined the Masa programs much before. When I came back from Shlichut, I was a Masa organizer, because Masa is like, there's this organization, but we have a lot of companies and organize, which you call organizers, and they're the ones who providing the providers of the program. So I actually started from being a provider of a program, and I saw I really did from a grassroots perspective, and I joined Masa in 2014. Before that, I had like a part that I wanted to try to escape from the Jewish world, and I wanted to be a CEO of a non-profit that deals with Israeli underprivileged communities. There was which is connected to a venture capital fund It's called JVP Community, and I did that for a while, but I missed the Israel diaspora connection.
You had a
In
calling,
Masai,
as we say.
yeah. In Masai I started as the VP marketing. The last 3 years I'm the CEO of Masai.
Great. Now, so we've mentioned Masa 12,000 times right now. So for anyone that is not familiar with the organization, describe it and really what it does, because again, you do fantastic things.
So the name is, like you said, it's a journey, Masai Israel journey, and it's not coincidence that we call it a journey, because as much as we believe that every trip to Israel counts and every trip to Israel is important, Masa is trips to Israel that are long-term experiences. We feel that we need to have people here beyond the bus experience, people that will live it like locals, know Israel like Israelis, spend here a significant time for a few months to a year, and live it like I do. Of course, in a program with a structure, with guidance, with a play, like there is a structure there, but the day to day, they're living in apartments, they are with roommates, they are cooking Shabbat dinners, they're inviting their friends, and they have host families for holidays in Shabbat, and they're spending here the significant time like Israelis. Now, when you come for a trip for a few days, a week, 2 weeks, you can stop your life and say, okay, I'm going to go to vacation or to an educational seminar somewhere else and go back to my life. But if you are coming for a few months to a year, you need it to be aligned with your life choices, with what's going to be in it for you where you are in life. So our programs are mainly we have gap year programs, we have study abroad programs, we have career programs for internships and fellowships. We have people teaching English in the periphery. So we have programs that they are living in Israel, they experience in Israel, but the main core is helping them in their professional development, in their career, in their personal growth, in their international experience, in what they're going to achieve in life. And Israel is part of it.
And these are programs that are 2 to 10-month programs.
Right. Most of them are 4 to 10 months. We also have a partnership for programs that are 2 months.
You just ticked off over several of the types of programs that you have. I want to do a deep dive into 1 or 2 of them, because you have a Masa Israel Teaching Fellows program. So can you talk a little bit about that?
This is an amazing program.
Yeah.
This is such a win-win. We have it with our partners at the Ministry of Education in Israel, because they came to us years ago and said, we have a problem in Israel that people, like, we don't have enough English teachers and assistant teachers, and the ones that we have don't have the right vocabulary and don't have the right accent. And we said, great, so let's bring people from English-speaking countries, mainly the US, Canada, Australia, South Africa, England, to come and be for 10 months teachers or assistant teachers in school. And this program is really amazing, because it goes to very not the easiest schools in Israel, and we have it across the country. And for 10 months, these amazing fellows are part of the Israeli teachers team in that school. And actually, they are the stars of the school, because we tell them that even if they know Hebrew, we tell them not to tell the kids they know Hebrew. Mm-hmm. So the kids will only know that they need to communicate with them only in English. So it's not going to be easy for them to, okay, I don't know more than English, I'm going to switch to Hebrew. The second thing is that they're younger, they're very motivated, they're cool, and the kids see them as a role model, and they make English sounds cool. They make learning English be very, very important part of the success of the kids. On the other hand, they're bringing the diaspora voice into that school. So it's not just about the English, because they're coming and talking about their community. They're talking about how they celebrate Rosh Hashanah, Hanukkah, or Pesach. They're talking about what is it to be a Jew from wherever they are. And all the ecosystem, the school, the kids in the school, the teachers, the parents of the kids, all of them are getting to know more about the word Jewry outside of Israel and get to know English in a better way. And the person that is coming to that school, that Masa fellow, is being adopted by the school in a very, very warm way from that community. Host families, Shabbat, holidays. Some of them, a lot of them are coming back years after to Israel. And when they're coming back, they come to visit their school. They come to visit their kids, their host families. And these are bonding connections for life.
It's really bridging that gap that we were talking about a moment ago.
Exactly. It's like one example. Think about all this from every angle about how the Israeli learns about the community in the US and the vice versa.
Right. Masa Tech.
Masa Tech is another example of how the young world Jewry is helping helping the Israeli society and also boosting their career themselves. Because the high-tech scene in Israel, as you know, Israel is a startup nation, but in some it grew so much that in some places we have a lack of local talent, and the companies here are looking for people to. This is actually one of the only programs that they're working. Masa Tech, they're working, they're getting a salary. We bring them with working visa, but it's also. They have also the educational experience and the trips and Hebrew and other things around it, like every Masa program. But Masa Tech brings bring the people that are already have some experience to work in the high-tech scene in Israel. And this is really, really incredible. I actually think that all of our career programs are incredible because even the ones who come from internship or to juniors and seniors in high-tech, they are opening more, other than what they're coming from with their experience in the profession, they open new markets for these Israeli startups because they're coming from with different backgrounds, from different languages. We're not bringing on people from the US. Masa works in 60 different countries. So it's a very global Jewish community that is coming in Israel. And think about, we have here startups in Tel Aviv that has 10 Masa fellows. Some of them are interns, some of them are workers. One from Germany, one from Brazil, two from America, one from Australia, one from France. And in one place, they have they have so many languages, so many backgrounds, so many cultures, so it's helping that economy, it's helping the economy, it's helping that company to get big and very international. On the other hand, it brings also that word Jewish feel, like the global Jewish community together in Israel. A lot of our, like when we ask our fellows about their experience here, one of the things that they really, really love is their interactions with Israelis, of course. They're meeting Israelis, they date Israelis, some of them marry Israelis, they work with Israelis, they volunteer with Israelis. But one of the other things that they say that it was a bit, in the beginning it was a bit, we didn't expect it, how high it will be on their experience, is meeting young Jews from other countries. So they come to Israel with the expectations they're going to meet Israelis, but they don't come with the expectations they're going to meet young people from Brazil and Argentina and France and the UK. They didn't know it, and sometimes they are their roommates or the dorm mates. We do activities for that in the Masa community that we bring all of them together, and these connections are for life, also for business, for social, and for their Jewish journey.
And I think it's important to underscore that those that participate in the program are 16 to 35. So clearly the 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, and so on, even if you're a college student, that's probably very education focused or programs of a gap year type nature. But I think what's so remarkable, Ofer, is you're offering opportunities for people that are starting out their careers or have worked, let's say, for 10 years or so, and want to do a career change and just want to test the waters and don't necessarily want to test those waters in their own country, but they want to go to Israel and do that. And that's really quite remarkable. You can have a 29, 30-year-old, 34-year-old person on a Masa program.
Right. During COVID, there was a lot of them. A lot that says about career change. A lot of people there, some of them, their industry went bankrupt or went on pause, and they say, you know what, let's restart. Let's see something else. Also, with the big resignation that happened, people say, okay, maybe I want to do something else with my life. A Masa career program was a very, very great opportunity for them because they wanted to test the water. And I really feel that it's helping them a lot. And for us, it's a great opportunity because when they come here, we see at the end of the program that their relationship with Israel will never be the same again. They will feel in Israel home. They will feel in Israel like a second home. We also see it, they're coming back. More than 70% of our American alumni from Masa came back to Israel after the program. 40% came more than 3 times. So this is really remarkable because if I go to study abroad in London, or I spend a volunteer work in India for a few months, I don't think I'm going to go back again and again and again. I'm going to want to go to somewhere else in the world when I have the chance. I want to explore something new. But because it's Israel, they understand it. They get the feeling, they make a connection that it's not the same as another country for them, even if it was. For some of them, it was before they came here. And they build that relationship that is long-lasting for life.
For those of us, myself included, that did spend a year studying in London, I love London, but I've only been back maybe twice, I think, since that time. And that was an awfully long time ago at this point. I would love if Masa did programs for people that were over 35. Is that even on the cards? And jokes aside, because again, it's this notion of the great resignation, as you just brought up, of people wanting to have a career change, or people saying, you know what, I really want to explore living in Israel because maybe one day I might want to make Aliyah to Israel. And they could be 40, 45, 50 years old.
It used to be only until 30, until recently. And we expanded it because we saw the demand and we saw the need. And we went to our board and to our funders, and most of our funding comes from the government of Israel and the Jewish Agency. And we convinced them that we need to expand it to 35. There's only one program that you can do in Masa up to 40, which is Masa Doctors. We have doctors that want to come here, and this is kind of a pre-Aliyah program because they're coming here. We help them to go through the test of becoming a doctor in Israel, and then most of them pass the test and stay in Israel. So it's only that group is up to 40 for the moment.
Okay.
At 35, it's still like we're still testing it. Hopefully, in a few years, if we see that it's needed and we have the funding for it, we'll hopefully expand it more.
And talk about the numbers. How many are coming per year, and then how many alums you have? I actually know how many alums you have, but I'll let you say the number.
So, well, we actually have every year we have between 10 to 12,000 people coming from about 60 different countries.
That's significant.
This is a big number. This year it's actually going to be a record number of about 14,000. We never had that before. And at the moment we have about 190,000 alumni throughout the world. This is a big force. A lot of people that spend a significant time in Israel.
In 60 different countries, you said?
Yeah, half of them are from North America, and half from the rest of the world.
Can you talk about the relationship, if at all, with birthright?
Definitely. We have a very good relationship with Birthright. I meet their management on a regular basis. We work very closely with them.
We had their CEO, Izzy Tapuchi, here on the program.
I have we share data like everyone that does Birthright. When they finished Birthright, we started to promote them about Masa. We meet Birthright groups in Israel, and actually a lot of our Masa alumni did first of all start with Birthright because it's easier to start with 10 days. We think that it's a very good start, but we hope that it's not going to end with 10 days, that it's going to be after that the next step of something deeper. And we feel that Live It Like a Local in Masa is the next step for us.
And do you have the stats at all on how many have joined the Masa program and then have made Aliyah?
Yes, we have that data too. Globally, we're talking about 30%. 30% of our alumni are making Aliyah, but it's very different geographically. From Russia, it's about 95%. From France, it's about 70%. From the US, it's 16%. So we're very good in data. We are analyzing and we see, but you can understand that it's very different in every place. So 16% of the Americans make Aliyah from Masa. The rest are going back to the community. And research show that they are very, very connected in the community. Actually, 1 in 5 of our alumni from the US is working in the Jewish community, have a Jewish job. This is like, they are the next, this is the pipeline for Jewish talent to be Jewish professionals. It was just the Hillel GA in Dallas I think 2 weeks ago. Hillel International, the organization, has its annual event for their workers. And we were there, and in the registration, they asked who is a Masa alumni. And out of the 1,000 people that were there, 130 of the workers are Masa alumni. So you can, and I think it's changing the Jewish world. Because when I was in Shlichut, and it was many years ago, and when I went to an Hillel house, there were amazing, talented people working there back then as well. But most of them were not they've never been to Israel. If they've been to Israel, they've been on a short trip. Think about these 130 people that are full-time on campus, and all of them spend a year in Israel. How their connection to Israel, what they're bringing, how they're connecting to the students, and how they're representing, how they're connecting to Jewish identity, how they're representing fight against BDS, or how they're doing Israelite activities when they spend a year in Israel. It's very, very different. We also saw that actually Masa is a great, Masa alumni are, because Masa has been here for like over the 19 years. So we have the perspective. It's not like it's been there for a few years, so we can test it. We can test the long impact. And we see that our alumni, about a third of them in the US, say they donate to Israel causes. And half of them say they donate to Jewish causes. So they get very much involved and connected in the Jewish world. We saw that 67% of them say that they regularly participate in Jewish activity. The other side of it, people tell us, okay, if he's already went to a long-term program, he's probably connected already. Like it's to take commitment of coming to a semester over here in Israel. He probably already grew up Jewish. He grew up in a Jewish environment, and it was part of his life path. So it's not true, because we're looking and we actually see that the ones that are getting the most engaged are the ones that started very little engaged with the organized Jewish world. The ones who come to Masa, we call them there's a partially part that come to Masa, we call them the career explorers. They're coming for their career change or for the professional development, or this is what their motivation is. Some of them even come to gap year. but they want to come for an internship so they can get into a good university after or something like that. These ones we investigated, we saw that half of them didn't do anything in an organized Jewish community before the age of 18. Only a quarter of them did bar mitzvah. Only a quarter did bar mitzvah. About 20% are only sent to Jewish camp, but a half didn't do any of the above. No Jewish camp, not bar mitzvah, not Sunday school, no Hebrew school, nothing. But they came to Masa. They came to Masa not because they wanted to connect to their Jewish identity. They came to Masa because they wanted an internship in Google or in Facebook, or they've been on Birthright here once and they saw the beaches of Tel Aviv. They say, "Wow, I want to live here for a semester." But they came out of this experience so connected to Israel, to the Jewish community, to where they are in this journey. So it works. I feel that Israel in general works, and Masa specifically is definitely working. And it's actually like an alternative path to for those who did not, all the organized Jewish activities did not work on them. And I feel that what's going on in the US in the last few years is in some of the communities see it as an opportunity and engage their young people, encourage them to go on Birthright, on Masa, on missions, on JNF does a lot of activities, a lot of Israel trips, the alternative spring break activities, and there's many things that they're doing. But there are other parts that actually I think needed not less. And the community says, we're not going to talk about Israel. We're going to talk less about Israel because we talk about Israel, some agree, some don't agree. People from outside the community are attacking us. So let's talk about it less and less, or not talk about it at all. And I feel it's a mistake because you can have your opinions about politics in Israel. And we're talking here now with a new government form, and I know that some communities in the States have are worried or have they have concerns. But it's fine because half of Israel, a bit less of half of Israel have concerns too, because that's democracy. And some are for and some are against the government.
We have the same issue in the United States too, Ofer.
Exactly.
That's what happens when you have a democracy. The pendulum swings.
Exactly, you're right. Yeah. But you need to see beyond the politics, because today it's a government that you really support, and tomorrow it's a government that you really oppose. But this is not really important. What's important is the base, is Israel as a society, as a community, as the place for as the homeland of the Jewish people. And if this is basic values, and the society here, when you come to Masa, when you live it like locals here, when you see the optimism of Israelis, and you see the innovation, and you see the life in the streets, you fall in love. And you feel that it's part of you, and you feel that it's something that that will last you after your Israel experience. And I think it's a great tool, even for all Jewish communities in North America. Some take advantage of it, understand it, and some don't and should.
That's why we wanted to have you on the program. For those that didn't know about Masa, and for those that do know about Masa, to be further inspired by really the wonderful work that you're doing. So thank you, especially for sharing that. So a logistical question then for you is, can you talk about expenses? And also you hinted at who funds Masa. So if you can combine both of those, Ofer.
Sure. So Masa is all of Masa programs are sponsored, and you get grants, and in some cases, if you need a needs-based scholarship, but this is not a full sponsored program. Offer program costs money, and it depends on what you're going to do here. If you come here to study for a semester or a year, it's going to be more expensive than if you come to volunteer in the periphery. There are some programs that are very subsidized, like the Masa Israel Teaching Fellows that we talked about, because they come here, they're full-time volunteers, they're working in schools. it's not an easy job, and it's really needed in society. And we got extra funding from the government to do that. And this program, for instance, is 10 months that it's only costing $1,200, and you get the flight and stipends and the apartment and all the educational activities and healthcare and everything around it, Hebrew language classes and enrichments and leadership. So that's like one of the extreme. But also there are programs that can cost you even after the grant and scholarship can cost you $15,000, $20,000. It depends.
Got it. And then funding. You're funded by the government as well as other organizations.
We're funded mainly by the Israeli government, the Prime Minister's office, and the Jewish Agency. But we also get some other funding from the government, from other ministries, from Ministry of Health, and Ministry of Education, and from private donors and foundations. We actually did we did a research a few years ago about the contribution of Masa to the Israeli economy. That's when we needed more money from the government in order to show them that it's actually an investment. And we were shocked with the results because we saw that actually Masa contributes to the Israeli economy 2.3 billion shekel a year from what people are paying to come here, from all the industry of the people that work with that, from the parents that come to visit them once a year, at least the ones that are from North America and Europe, and all the trips that they're doing here, from the contribution that they have in their internship hours, in the volunteer hours to the community, and it all adds up to a very significant amount of. So Israeli government is investing a lot, but getting a lot back. But also it's investing it in the Jewish world, and it's invested because it's, like we say, it's a partnership. And it's also affecting both sides of the coin. So if it's affecting both sides of the coin, both sides should contribute to that.
Ofer, I went on the Facebook page for Masa, and I saw that you had a wedding for two people that met on the program, and I'd imagine that probably wasn't the only one that you've had.
Well, we have so many great. We actually every two B'Av we have some stories that we'll be sharing. That so many Masa alumni are meeting together on Masa. It can be Masa Masa participants from different countries, and it can be Masa participants with Israelis. Actually, really coincidence. The day before yesterday, Motzei Shabbat, I'm doing candle lighting for Hanukkah with a group of friends that invited me, and I did I spoke a bit. I did the blessing, and someone after came to me that I didn't know, a friend of a friend, and she said, because of Masa, I have French nephews. I said, what do you mean? She said, my cousin from Argentina, she came to Masa and she married her future husband from France who came also to Masa, and now they have kids that speak French. And I never thought that I'm going to have kids and I'm going to have my family a French connection. It's because of Masa. There is a lot of stories like that. It's definitely, I don't know if there's people who come here and that's the main goal. I'm sure some of them do. But this is an amazing turnout of events that happening here. That's about this global connection, making finding love.
Sure, it's a nice byproduct.
I found my love on my shlichut. So it's also,
oh, did you? So
yeah,
is your wife American?
Yeah, my wife is American from New York. I met her when I was on shlichut in New York. And it took a long time to convince her to come here, but it happened, and we're happily living in Ramat Gan, raising our kid. Yes, so for me, my shlichut experience got me my love, and I hope for as many American Masa fellows will find their love from their experience in Israel.
So it really works. So if for no other reason, anyone that's looking, go on a Masa program. All right. We look forward to seeing you, by the way, the next year here in New York, visiting your wife's family here. Um,
Great. I'd be happy.
yes, absolutely. Well, listen, I'd actually like to ask you about Zionism because Jewish National Fund USA, Ofer, has launched a whole year-long campaign called Conversations on Zionism, Reclaiming the Narrative. And as I said, it's a year-long campaign to reclaim the beauty, the inclusivity of what Zionism is all about. And we encourage everyone in earshot to go to youtube.com/Zionism Studios to catch these really important and enlightening conversations. I personally have learned a ton from them. And in fact, some of them I've actually seen twice just because I want to absorb more about from the content. So with that in mind, I'd love you to share for your definition of Zionism and what aspect of Zionism you're most proud of.
Well, first of all, I think it's an amazing campaign, and the fact that we need to reclaim the Z word in the US is something that I would never thought that we need to take. But in a lot of places, Zionism, thinking that you don't want to say Zionism because it's related to very other bad words, that it's really, really unbelievable. Every nation in the world deserves has a state, or if they don't, they deserve a state of their own. Then the world views them as deserve a state of their own. And to say that, and that's a basic thing. And that's, for me, that's the basic of Zionism, that the Jews deserve their own state in the historic land of Israel, where we were here thousands of years ago. We had our first temple and second temple, have historical roots. So that's the basic of it. And the fact that there are people who are ashamed of saying Zionism because they think that people saying to them that Zionism is racism, or it's really ridiculous to me. Because how can it be that the only country, the only nation in the world, the only people in the world that did not deserve a state is the Jews? That's anti-Semitism, even if you don't want to say it, but it's anti-Semitism. So for me, that's the basic. Part. But there is always that definition between, did we came here to establish a Jewish state or a state of the Jews? And I think that we are in all the time in debate. How much is it the state of the Jews, and how much is it the Jewish state, and how much is it? For me, Israel needs to be a light. I don't know if it's light to the nation, to the whole nation, but definitely a light to our nation, to Jews from around the world, an inspiration to the Jews around the world. And every Jew can find that Israel is a place, a safe haven for them. I know about all the different streams of Zionism. I'm a big historical. I love history, and I love archaeology, and I love to. For me, when talking about now, we finished Hanukkah, and for me, Hanukkah is almost like a Zionist, like a Zionist celebration, because I cannot think about Hanukkah without thinking about Yom Ha'atzmaut.
How is that?
Because Hanukkah was the Independence Day of the last time we had a king. We had Independence Kingdom here. That's what they did,
Yeah.
And not accidentally. My grandparents, when they came here in the 20s and the 30s as pioneers, who did they look up to? The Maccabees. I thought we were the new Maccabees. Like, we are coming to establish this a free state of Israel in the land of Israel, like the Maccabees did back then. So right. I love Hanukkah from a community-wise, and I love Hanukkah from its like candle lighting and everything. But for me, the core is that it's almost like a Zionist holiday. I cannot think about without connecting it to 1948.
I love that.
So what I'm more proud of, the most thing I'm proud about in Zionism, I'm really proud of what I'm really proud of what my grandparents did here, that they came back to the country, did the impossible. I'm proud of what my parents' generation did here, that they really built this country. And sometimes I feel that I would never live up to what they did. But then there are a lot of challenges of our generation, connecting to Zionist identity, to how Israel will look, to if Israel is a light to the nation, should be definitely light to our nation, like I said. And for me, I feel that I work in Zionism. I feel the connection of connecting young Jews from around the world to Israel and connecting Israelis to the world Jewry. That's for me a mission that is definitely part of Zionism.
You know, Ofer, I just want to say, I've been doing the show now, it'll be 6 years this coming May. And while we know that Israel is a safe haven for the Jewish community and welcomes Jews from around the world, nobody has ever said what you just said in terms of Israel being not necessarily just a light unto nations, but a light to the Jewish people. No one's ever phrased that like that before here on the program.
Well,
And it's
that's why
absolutely true. And it's such a
if you look
beautiful
at
way and a beautiful sentiment of looking at
not
Israel.
that's not mine. That's from the historical Zionism. If you
No,
read,
yeah, I know that. I know that,
it's
but
like
what
the
I'm saying is
Chadam.
nobody has said it like that here on the program all these 6
Oh.
years. Maybe I have to go back and listen to all the other episodes that we've done, but no one has ever articulated it quite like that. And I think it's very powerful and it's simple and it's beautiful and it's meaningful.
Thank you. Thank you. I really feel that if you go to the basic of Zionism in every stream, the religious Zionism of Arav Kook, and the labor Zionism of Ben Gurion, and the more political Zionism of Herzl, and the spiritual Zionism of Echad Ha'am, you will find that these core, they are all right. Every one of them has a point, and in order for us to successful in our mission, all of that angles need to take into account. And even though it was 100 years ago, we still live it, and there is still stages, the next stage in every one of these streams of Zionism that we need to get to the next level.
Yeah, it's like a diamond that has different facets, and those are all the facets that make up Israel. All right, listen, Ofer Gutman, we're going to leave it right there. This has been such a pleasure. And honestly, at the top of the show, I said, if people don't know about Masa, they know about it now, certainly. And if people wanted inspiration, I got to tell you, you certainly inspired me. And I just want to thank you once again for joining us here on this episode of Israel Casting. We wish you and the entire team really much continued success with everything you're doing.
Thank you very much, Stephen. It was a pleasure to be with you and with Israel Cast, and I think you're doing an amazing job. And I've been listening to Israel Cast, and your interviews are amazing, and there's inspiration in every one of them, and I learn a lot.
All right. We thank you very much, and we'll indeed have info about Ofer and Masa on the show notes page of this episode on our website, jnf.org/IsraelCast. And before we move on with more housekeeping, we'd just like to remind you what we were just talking about with Ofer, that Jewish National Fund USA believes the time has come for us to reclaim the narrative, take ownership of the word Zionism, and show the world how beautiful, inclusive, and inspirational, we're going to use that word once again, inspirational, Zionism really is. So do join Jewish National Fund USA's conversations on Zionism, reclaiming the narrative. You can check out these just phenomenal conversations at youtube.com/Zionism Studios. Once again, youtube.com/Zionism Studios. Check them out. I promise you'll love them. Now, of course, as for Israel Cast, we do release new episodes of the show every other Wednesday. And just so you never miss an episode, subscribe to us wherever you get your podcasts. Simply search for Israel Cast. It couldn't be easier. And don't forget to rate and review us, because that helps us with our rankings, which in turn makes it easier for more people around the world to find us. Or you can always enjoy the show by visiting us at our website. Once again, it's jnf.org/IsraelCast. And indeed, it takes a whole moshav to put Israelcast together. For that, we thank Vivian Grossman, Dara Shapiro, and J.D. Krebs. Our editors are Jay Rothman and James Casada from Mirrortone Studios right here in New York City. And the music that you hear at the top until the program is titled My Eden. It's by the very talented Rafi Malkiel from his album Water on the Tzadik label. Israelcast is indeed powered by Jewish National Fund USA, your voice in Israel. For more info about JNF USA, visit jnf.org. And if you'd like to write to us with story ideas or just to say howdy, We'd love to hear from you. So email us. Our email address, very easy, israelcast@jnf.org. Once again, israelcast@jnf.org. Meantime, I'm Stephen Shalowitz, thanking you for tuning in and looking forward to having you join us on future episodes of Israelcast.